I want to introduce our first speaker this morning, Dr. George Voyiadjis. He's Boyd Professor and the Interim Director for the Center for GeoInformatics.
Thank you, Josh. And of course, as you all know, C4G has been the brainchild of Roy Doka. So this is a testament for him. And of course, I would still have to add a well-behaved child. Okay. Good morning to all of you. And as the interim director for the Center of GeoInformatics at LSU, it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Khalid T. Valsaraj, the Vice Chancellor for Research and Economic Development. And I'd like to read to you a few of the accolades that he has obtained. He holds several prestigious titles, including the Charles and Hilda Roddy Distinguished Professor of Chemical Engineering and the Ike East Professor of Chemical Engineering. He is a recipient of the Charles E. Coates Memorial Award for outstanding contribution to the profession of chemical engineering. He received the Research Master Award 3 years ago from LSU, which is the highest research award bestowed on anyone by LSU. He is also a fellow of both the American Association for the Advancement of Science and the American Institute of Chemical Engineers. Under his leadership, the LSU Office of Research and Economic Development, known as ORED, has advocated the theoretical and practical research activities that advances the university's goal of discovery, learning, diversity, and engagement. Indeed, the ORED advocates multidisciplinary research in numerous areas. Height modernization is definitely a prime example of the research and scientific innovation that directly supports the state's economy and its numerous stakeholder industries. Accurate, as you all know, of course, I'm preaching to the crowd. As you all know, accurate and precise innovations has been and continues to be a shared responsibility involving academia, government, and industry. Coordination through events such as this allows the university to provide the multifaceted research that contributes to the betterment of the state. Indeed, this event embodies the strategic vision outlined by our guest speaker, practical research implemented through industrial ties. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our guest speaker, Dr. Khalid T. Valsaraj.
Good morning. Thank you, George, for that very nice introduction, and Joshua for inviting me to this workshop. I'm extremely pleased to be here today, bring you greetings from the faculty, staff, and the administration here at LSU. This is the first of many events that will be coordinated by C4G over the next few years. As you all know, C4G is able to provide this workshop through a research grant funded by the National Geodetic Survey. The grant was awarded to a consortium of institutes and spatial reference centers located across the Gulf Coast. The workshops are designed to communicate the latest technologies and resources for reliably observing and accurately measuring heights and elevations using GPS and GNSS technologies. Accurate, reliable, and consistent elevation information contributes to informed decision-making, as we all know. It impacts a wide range of important activities, including what you all do in mapping and charting, flood risk determination, transportation, land use planning and development, of course, environmental management, economic development, and coastal sustainability and engineering design. Now, coastal sustainability is an important component and a priority for the university. In no place is this more critical than in Louisiana. The research conducted here at LSU shows that subsidence has effectively destroyed the traditional. traditional methods of obtaining vertical controls in the state. The consequences to our coastal wetlands are therefore quite dire. When combined with sea level rise, Louisiana faces unprecedented rates of land loss, which everybody knows. We lose approximately a football field of wetlands every 60 seconds, a metric widely used across Louisiana to show the coastal land loss and its significance. Data published by the Coastal Protection and Restoration Authority, which is CPRA, reveals how Louisiana comprises 40% of the nation's wetlands, but accounts for 90% of the nation's wetland loss. A report recently published by the National Research Council projects significant annual flood losses for New Orleans. In fact, New Orleans ranks 4th in the world for flood loss, behind 2 other US cities and a city in China. If these metrics continue unmitigated, we will be left with one unavoidable conclusion, and that is coastal subsidence and land loss constitutes an existential threat to the sustainability in Louisiana, our way of life, our economy. The way to move forward from this is really through research, innovation, and coordination, and LSU has a very concerted effort in this direction. We understand the threat, and therefore we understand the need for effective technological and political leadership. We have identified the processes that are causing this. We can develop new technologies that will mitigate the hazards, stem the tide, so that we can ensure a future for Louisiana's coastal wetlands. LSU is committed to providing solutions for a sustainable coast. The research and services developed by this center, the Center for GeoInformatics, is an example of how the university provides that scientific, technological, and educational leadership necessary to support you and the countless other height modernization constituents and stakeholders in Louisiana and across the Gulf Coast. Height modernization is a shared responsibility. While academia can provide the theoretical framework for innovative solutions, it is the industry that provides a practical application of these efforts to effect meaningful change. This best practice seminar is one of the major tools in which the professional land surveyors and engineers here in Louisiana can provide the manpower throughout the state for the collection of data and for submission to the National Geodetic Survey. As more elevation benchmarks are collocated with GPS observations and submitted to the National Geodetic Survey, I believe they will contribute to better GeoID models, which will result in more reliable elevations in Louisiana. You, the practitioners, represent the critical link in the scientific observation process just by incorporating benchmark collocations into a normal GPS work throughout the state. For instance, C4G recently completed a Blue Book project in conjunction with the local land surveying team. Now, brand new elevations have just been published by NGS for all of Livingston Parish. Since GPS observations performed with best practices using the LSU C4G real-time network only provide ellipsoid heights, the need for reliable and accurate GeoID is critical for deriving elevations. LSU is committed to the development of a specialized, localized quasi-GeoID specifically for the state of Louisiana. The NGS Gravity project, which is currently flying relative gravity observations throughout the U.S., will provide a national GeoID for the planned new datum adjustment in 2022. That has the potential to improve the GeoID somewhat in Louisiana, but the true centimeter level accuracy, which you're all looking for, in our state can only be realized through a dense grid of terrestrial observations with absolute gravity meters and zenith camera observations. That's a task too large for the NGS, but ideally suitable for the LSU researchers here at C4G. Almost half of the 100 continuously operating reference stations run by C4G already have had absolute gravity observed at least once, some several times, as I understand. These represent the basic skeletal network structure for the requisite densification grid of the terrestrial absolute gravity stations and zenith camera observations for the quasi-geo ID of Louisiana. Fostering and improving economic development through practical research and industrial ties is an essential responsibility of LSU. My office, the Office of Research and Economic Development, promotes efforts that both elevate the university's research profile and positively impacts the lives and well-being of all state citizens which we serve. LSU is the flagship university. It has a state mandate to help the state in various activities such as dealing with coastal sustainability, energy applications, and all the rest of the various research arms that LSU has a stake in. The Louisiana Spatial Research Center, which is housed within the C4G, embodies these characteristics. Through research, technology, and outreach activities such as this workshop, the university supports you, the surveying, engineering, and agricultural industry stakeholders of height modernization. The Spatial Reference Center and C4G exhibit the strong practical research and innovation needed to expand its leadership beyond the benefit of the state and the Gulf Coast region to be recognized as the leader in the nation and the world. This is the charge of the university, and you, those of you here in this room, are the vanguard of discovering new ways and techniques that can provide a sustainable cultural, economic, environmental future in Louisiana. So I hope you have a very nice, productive workshop and a conference here. And once again, all the best. Thank you.